With me now, Fox News contributor and author of the new book, Not All Roads Lead to Heaven, Dr. Robert Jeffress, pastor of the First Baptist Church in Dallas. Good evening, Pastor.
Hi, Judge.
It's good to see you again. I just saw you a couple of days ago in Nashville. Yes. Hillary Clinton, of course, has won South Carolina, but I want to talk to you about Donald Trump, because you were with Donald Trump in Texas and have just gotten back. I mean, what were the crowds like, and how was he received, especially by the evangelicals?
Well, the crowds were enthusiastic in Fort Worth, and it was there, of course, that he unveiled Chris Christie's endorsement. So Chris was there, and lots and lots of enthusiasm. And look, Trump asked me how I thought he would do in Texas, and I said, you know, I can't predict. I think he will do very, very well in Texas. But I reminded Mr. Trump that while Trump does not have to win Texas, Ted Cruz absolutely has to win Texas, or he's finished.
And as it relates to Donald Trump, when you were introducing him, one of the things that you said was, if Donald Trump doesn't win, that we will have the most pro-abortion president in the history of this nation. So I assume you're talking about Hillary Clinton, of course.
Well, it could be absolutely Hillary Clinton.
Right.
That's right. And she's going to be the nominee.
Oh,
yeah, she's going to be the nominee.
All right, but let's talk about Donald Trump. I mean, look, Ted Cruz. I mean, you've got this guy who, you know, announces at Liberty University and, you know, says that he speaks for the conservative movement, and all of a sudden Donald Trump comes in, and all of the evangelicals, or the majority of them, including yourself, say nice things about him, because you can't really endorse him, so I'll be careful about that question. But why? How is it that he appeals to the evangelicals when someone like Mitt Romney 4 years ago, the evangelicals didn't even come out?
Judge, there's a Bloomberg poll that was taken in South Carolina that explains the whole phenomenon of Donald Trump and evangelicals. 72% of South Carolinians who voted were evangelicals. And the poll asked these South Carolinians, which candidate best represents your values? Donald Trump was at the bottom of the list. But then the poll asked the question, which candidate do you think will challenge the establishment or keep America safe or reinvigorate the economy? Donald Trump was at the top of the list. And I think that explains it all. Evangelicals, like most Americans, Judge, are tired of the status quo, which Ronald Reagan said is Latin for the mess we're in. Most Americans feel like we're in a mess. They're looking for a leader, and increasingly they believe that leader has to come from the outside, and they're turning to Donald Trump.
But historically, evangelicals have voted based upon, you know, their values. So you're saying it's almost a different paradigm now, that it's about security, it's about a leader, and wouldn't you say that, you know, it's Barack Obama who's kind of changed that that paradigm, given where, you know, people want the outsider today?
Absolutely. I think there is a lot of parallel, Judge, to 1980. Remember, in 1980, the economy was in shambles. The military was falling apart. We had 50 hostages in Iran. And that year, Americans had two choices for president. The first choice was a truly born-again Christian who taught Sunday school in his Baptist church and had been faithfully married to one woman. His name was Jimmy Carter. The second alternative was a twice-married Hollywood actor who, as governor of California, had signed the most liberal abortion bill in California history, and whose wife followed astrology and used it to influence him. His name was Ronald Reagan. Guess who the evangelicals went for? They went for Ronald Reagan, not because he was the most religious candidate, but because he had the quality they thought was most important, and that is leadership. And I think that is what many evangelicals are looking to right now. They're looking for a leader.
And there's no question in your mind that they're going to be coming out. But let's look forward to Super Tuesday.
Yes.
You know, just 72 hours away. What do you think is going to happen in those southern states?
Well, remember, these southern states, or 7 of these states, are southern or southwestern states that are heavily evangelical. I can't predict what's going to happen in Texas. I think Donald Trump will gather a large number of delegates. It's not a winner-take-all state here. I think he'll do very well in the other southern states. But remember, Ted Cruz, whom I like, by the way, Ted Cruz has to do well in these states because as we move forward, it's going to be more difficult to Ted Cruz in the northern states. I think the map looks only better for Donald Trump as you move out of these southern states. But let's face it, the fact that Donald Trump is resonating with the majority of evangelicals, not only in the southern states, but nationally, is a true miracle.
Well, Dr. Jeffress, thanks so much for being with us, and you certainly believe in what you're saying.